Regulus Black. When we talk about the Blacks, it's always Sirius, Azkaban, and a cursed tapestry. But before the big names, before the betrayals and the disownments, there was a man born in 1808 who started it all. Regulus Black, the oldest name still visible on the Black family tapestry, sorted into Slytherin before anyone alive today could verify it, and married to a pure-blood witch named Magenta Tripe. Why is Regulus Black important? Well, besides the amount of gold in the family vault and the motto he established, toujours pur, that's French for always pure. Regulus also found a beautiful Muggle townhouse in London. He, quote, persuaded the owner to leave, those quotation marks are doing heavy lifting, and claimed it as the family seat, number 12 Grimmauld Place, a pure-blood dynasty headquartered in a home they took from the very people they despised. How ironic. That house would eventually hold a 7th century old tapestry, a screaming portrait, a row of mounted house elf heads, and one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. But the story was only the beginning. His great-grandson would take it somewhere Regulus never imagined. Phineas Nigellus Black. He attended Hogwarts, sorted into Slytherin, came back as a professor, hated every second of it, and got promoted to headmaster. Connections, money, the family name. With the Blacks, anything else would be surprising. He became the least popular headmaster in the school's history, by his own great-great-grandson's accounting. He took the position for prestige, openly despised the students under his care, and once attempted to revise the admissions process to exclude Muggleborns entirely. Very Slytherin. Luckily for Hermione Granger, the ministry refused him. The fact that a sitting headmaster attempted it at all says enough about the kind of wizard he was. And beyond bloodline, Phineas gave the family something they'd never had before, a permanent seat inside Hogwarts. His portrait hung in the headmaster's office, which meant the Blacks had a direct line into the school's inner workings long after he died. The portrait kept working for decades. It helped Dumbledore relay a message that saved Arthur Weasley's life during the Second Wizarding War. Later, it helped Snape deliver the Sword of Gryffindor to Harry Potter. Phineas married Ursula Flint, a pure-blood witch. Fun fact, of the 36 Blacks documented on the tapestry, 25 trace directly back to this couple. Their children were Phineas II, Arcturus II, Belvina, Cygnus II, and one more. The one who mattered most to the story that followed. His name was Sirius Black II. Named after an uncle who died at 8 years old, Sirius Black II became the first in the family to carry that name into adulthood. Born in 1877, he attended Hogwarts while his own father, Phineas Nigellus, was still headmaster. Whether that made his years there easier or more complicated probably depended on the day. He married Hesper Gamp, had 3 children, Arcturus, Regulus, and Regulus, and lived to 75. By Black family standards, that counts as a quiet life. But this was the senior branch, the main bloodline, the one that inherited Grimmauld Place, the vault, and the family name, the branch that would eventually produce Regulus Black, the boy who stole a Horcrux, and of course Sirius Black III, godfather to Harry Potter. So yeah, the first generation of Black family chaos traces straight back to this Sirius. The second wave? Well, we'll get there. As for Phineas II, Arcturus II, and Belvina, there isn't much info. Maybe they married Muggles. That would explain the silence, but the quiet life ended with Sirius II. His eldest son wanted more. Arcturus Black III. Arcturus Black III was the man who solved a problem the family had carried for generations. The Blacks had the prestige, the manor, the motto. What they never had was a formal, recognized position inside the wizarding government itself. So, Arcturus looked at his vault and said, I'll buy my way up. He donated a significant amount of gold to the Ministry of Magic. In return, he received an Order of Merlin First Class, the highest honor in wizarding Britain, officially awarded for services to the ministry. His grandson Sirius would later tell Harry the truth plainly. His grandfather bought it. Arcturus lived to 90, longer than any Black on record. But while his branch held the vault and the house, the other branch of the family was building something louder, and it started with Pollux Black. Pollux came from the second major branch of Phineas Nigellus's children. He married Irma Crabbe and became a father at 13 years old, a detail that says everything about how seriously this family took the preservation of the bloodline. By all accounts, Pollux was exactly what the Black family wanted to produce. sharp, proud, and unrelenting, fanatically devoted to the idea of pure blood, as a personal conviction he carried with him into everything. They had 3 children. Each of them would leave a mark on the family's story, and the eldest one, if the tapestry could talk, it would say her name with fear. Walburga Black. You probably know her from the screaming portrait in the hallway of Grimmauld Place, and if you don't know who she actually is, she's the one who decorates the family tapestry, and by decorates we mean permanently removes anyone who breathes wrong, but we'll get to that. She married her second cousin, Orion Black, Arcturus III's son, which meant the 2 branches of Phineas Nigellus' bloodline merged back into one. Gross. Fun fact, Walburga's maiden name was Black, and after the wedding it stayed Black. She transformed Grimmauld Place into a monument to pure blood ideology. The tapestry in the drawing room became the family's ultimate authority. Anyone who married wrong, believed wrong, or simply asked too many questions was burned off personally. So yeah, every name you see burned, Walburga Black's work. She supported Voldemort's vision and raised both her sons inside it. Regulus II shared her views completely, and Walburga made no secret of the fact that he was her favorite. Sirius III wanted nothing to do with any of it. She considered him a blood traitor, and when he left at 16, she burned his name off the tapestry the same day. But her brother's name, that burn cost her the most. Alfred Black. His crime was this: when his nephew Sirius ran away from Grimmauld Place at 16, Alfred gave him gold. A significant amount, according to Sirius, enough to begin a life somewhere else. One act of generosity, Walburga burned him off the record. In the Black family, helping the wrong person earned you the same treatment as being the wrong person. But the money did not disappear. Sirius later used gold from Vault 711 in Gringotts, almost certainly from Alphard's inheritance, to buy Harry a firebolt while riding him from hiding. Gold that one Black quietly gave another eventually bought a broomstick for a Potter. But Alfred's younger brother took the family in a very different direction. Sirius Black III. The youngest of Pollux's 3 children, Sirius became a parent at 13, and with him the second branch of the Black family chaos officially began. He married Drella Rosier from another established pure-blood house, and by all accounts was not pleased when their first child turned out to be a daughter. In a family where sons carried the name forward, daughters were a disappointment. He tried again. Another daughter, and again a third. Eventually, Sirius accepted what the family tree had given him and moved on. 7 centuries of Black men carrying the name forward, and it ended with Sirius. What he could not have known was that those 3 daughters would go on to make more noise in wizarding history than any Black man ever had. And the eldest, his firstborn, the daughter he had not wanted, became the most legendary Black of them all, Bellatrix Lestrange. If the House of Black spent 7 centuries constructing a philosophy of pure blood supremacy, Bellatrix was the one who followed it to its absolute conclusion. She married Rodolphus Lestrange from another established pure blood family, but the marriage was incidental. Her devotion belonged to Voldemort entirely, and Bellatrix called it love. Voldemort called it having a reliable employee. She became his most dangerous follower, his most capable weapon, and the mother of his only child, Delphine. Yes, that's canon from The Cursed Child. Potterheads, take a breath. After Voldemort fell in 1981, most Death Eaters claimed that they were under the Imperius Curse. Bellatrix went to Azkaban proudly, after torturing Frank and Alice Longbottom into permanent insanity first. She picked up exactly where she left off the moment he returned. She killed her own cousin, Sirius Black, during the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. One curse and he fell through the veil. A year later, she killed her niece, Nymphadora Tonks, during the Battle of Hogwarts, where Walburga burned names off the tapestry. Bellatrix made sure they stayed off permanently. Family meant nothing when it got in the way of the cause. Bellatrix was the purest product of the Black family ever made, but her middle sister understood something Bellatrix never did. Andromeda Tonks. Cygnus's second daughter of all the Blacks who broke from the family, Andromeda did it most completely, and paid the highest price for it. She married Ted Tonks, a Muggle-born wizard, and her aunt Walburga burned her name off the tapestry the same day. She and Ted built a life entirely outside the pure-blood world, and raised their daughter, Nymphadora, far from everything Grimmauld Place stood for. When the war came, she and Ted sheltered Harry Potter and Hagrid in their home after the 7 Potters operation, endured interrogation by Death Eaters, and gave nothing away. The war took Ted first, then Nymphadora, killed in the Battle of Hogwarts by Bellatrix, her own aunt. Andromeda was left with a newborn grandson and raised him alone. Harry Potter became Teddy's godfather. The boy the Blacks had spent generations despising ended up tied permanently to the one branch of the family that had chosen him first. Her younger sister survived the war too, but through a very different kind of loyalty. Narcissa Malfoy. Narcissa was the anomaly of the Black family, never quite accounted for. Where every Black before her had dark hair and darker eyes, she was blonde and blue-eyed. Where every Black child was named after a star or constellation, she was named after a flower. She married Lucius Malfoy. They first crossed paths at Hogwarts. Both Slytherin, Lucius 1 year ahead. He courted her properly, gave her the Malfoy family brooch, which she kept for the rest of her life. Two of the wealthiest pureblood families in Britain, running out of eligible matches. The union made strategic sense for everyone, but Narcissa fell in love with him. She defended Lucius against her own sister, stood by him when Voldemort humiliated him in his own home, and never once wavered. She was never a Death Eater, never took the dark mark. She shared the family's beliefs, but Narcissa's true loyalty was never to the ideology, it was to her family. And when Voldemort gave her 16-year-old son an impossible task, she proved it. She went behind the Dark Lord's back to Severus Snape and made him take an unbreakable vow to protect Draco. Bellatrix protested. Narcissa didn't care. When the moment came in the Forbidden Forest, Voldemort standing over Harry Potter's body, waiting for confirmation, Narcissa knelt down, felt a heartbeat, and told the Dark Lord what he wanted to hear. Her only goal was to get inside Hogwarts and find Draco. That lie ended the war. After the battle, the Malfoys avoided Azkaban entirely. The Black family spent 7 centuries trying to produce the perfect pureblood dynasty. Narcissa turned out to be the one who changed wizarding history, for entirely personal reasons. This was one side of the family. The other side produced someone the wizarding world would never forget. Sirius Black III. Walburga's eldest son, the third Black to carry the name Sirius, and the only one who made it mean something entirely different. Every Black before him had walked into Hogwarts and straight into Slytherin. Sirius walked into Gryffindor. The tapestry was already warming up. He spent his school years becoming exactly what the Black family most feared producing, someone who genuinely didn't care about any of it. He built deep friendships across bloodlines, helped create the Marauders map, and partly to help his werewolf friend avoid getting caught during his full moons, and mastered illegal animagus transformation at 15, becoming the black dog the family would never have chosen as their symbol. He left Grimmauld Place at 16 and never went back. What Sirius built outside the family turned out to be his real legacy. He became godfather to Harry Potter, and in that role he gave the Black name something it had never carried in 7 centuries of history: genuine, unconditional protection. When he died, everything passed to Harry: the vault, the house, the inheritance that Lycoris had built, and 7 generations of Blacks had carefully preserved, handed to a half-blood raised by Muggles. But his younger brother made every choice Sirius refused to make. Regulus Black II. Walburga's younger son named after the brightest star in the constellation Leo, and in his early years he lived up to everything that name meant to his family. Slytherin, Quidditch seeker, Death Eater at 16, with his parents' full approval. Regulus was so proud of his allegiance that he decorated his bedroom with newspaper clippings about Voldemort. He was, by every measure the Black family had ever used, the perfect son. What changed him was Kreacher, when Voldemort used the Black family house elf to test the defenses around one of his Horcruxes and left him to die in a cave. Something shifted in Regulus permanently. He went back to that cave himself, drank the cursed potion from the basin, swapped the real locket for a fake, and ordered Kreacher to go home and destroy the original. The Inferi pulled him under. He was 18. Inside the fake locket, he left a note, signed with 3 initials, R.A.B., Regulus Arcturus Black. It sat unread in Grimmauld Place for nearly 20 years, while his family mourned him as a loyal Death Eater and the wizarding world had no idea he had ever existed. He was the first person to successfully sabotage Voldemort's plan for immortality. He did it alone, in secret, with no expectation of recognition, and got none for 2 decades. The obedient son turned out to be the bravest Black of them all. So, the Blacks lost everything to a Potter. Turns out the Potters have secrets too. The lives of all 11 Potters explained in detail. That's your next lesson here at Stickman Hogwarts. Click now before Kreacher hides the remote.